gawking at somebody like a pervert, there is something to be said for the way that you dress. This don't just go for women, this goes for men too. I've been in work environments where a good looking male who is intentionally going out of his way to wear super tight clothes so he can show off his six pack, I've seen how that can be a very distracting thing at the work environment. No, it's not appropriate. There's a lot of women who say, oh, well, if I wear these clothes and a man can't keep his hands to himself, well, a man should keep his hands to himself no matter what you're wearing, whether you're wearing hospital scrubs or not. Now, just like when a man dresses in those tight clothes to show off his body, that's literally what he's doing. Now, we have hospital scrubs. That's because, well, we don't want you showing up in fucking tight-ass leggings and a tight-ass shirt, whether you're a man or a woman. It's not appropriate, especially at a hospital. You're not there to show off your body. You're there to fucking work. When you are stopping to take selfies of you, when you have taken a hospital uniform and you have gone out of your way to take something that is intentionally created not to show off your body. Because yes, most people have sexual urges, men and women. Yes, accentuating your body shape to show it off is distracting, and it is intentionally distracting. You did not modify your hospital scrubs for comfort. You did not modify your hospital scrubs for anything useful for your job. It's not like she took this loose-fitting thing and it stayed loose, that it was just a hospital scrub. No, she modified it a lot so that it would accentuate her body parts. And then she wanted to pose in sexy poses. That it's got the word sex in it for a reason. And she's wanting to accentuate and show off. She is accentuating her breasts. She is intentionally accentuating her breasts. She is intentionally trying to show off her body at work. Well, I'm sorry, folks. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry. That's not what fucking work is for. Work is not about getting laid. When you're supposed to be helping people at a hospital, I don't care if you got 2 jobs, 6 jobs, 12 jobs, you're not there to show off your tits. That'd be like me going, all right, you know what? I'm going to walk into work in a set of women's leggings. Oh, with all due respect, I have male equipment. So if I wear something like that, you're going to see all 3 of my grapes. Well, 2.5 grapes. So this lady's getting attention by the New York Times. Holy shit. She's obviously trying to show off her breasts. She is obviously in a hospital. She is obviously not working. She is obviously taking pictures of herself to show off her body. That is what she's doing. She is not at that hospital working. She is showing off her body. That is what she's trying to do. Oh, I'm only 20. I don't give a fuck how old you are. I don't. If an 80-year-old woman did the same thing, I'd say the same thing. I would also say, because, well, you guys would not be as kind to an 80-year-old woman doing it, would you? I'd stick up for an 80-year-old woman doing it. And be like, if it's all right for a 22-year-old, it's all right for an 80-year-old. And of course, there's this complaint that after doing that in a hospital, the people wanted to tell her how inappropriate it was. Well, it is inappropriate. It is inappropriate. There's a lot of women who want to say, oh, just because I dress sexy doesn't make it okay to rape me. You know what? Most men are not going to rape you for dressing sexy. Most men are not going to do that. How many times have you dressed sexy and walked down the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder, Colorado, ladies? How many times have you gone out there with a big, puffy jacket in the middle of winter and a mini skirt? And then you want to treat the men who look, and you are dressing with the intent of having people look, just like Josh Martindale wears those wife beater shirts so that he can show off his body. Even now that he's married and has a kid, he still does the same thing. He likes getting looked at. He likes that women will come up to him and volunteer how good looking he is. I'm not being sexist here and saying that that's wrong. Josh Martindale doesn't do it at work. Of course, if he did do it at work, that would depend on what portion of his life we're talking about, because Josh Martindale was a model. It was his job to accentuate his body and show it off. That was his job. Matter of fact, outside of the Westminster Mall, he was on a giant billboard in a pair of underwear for over a year. The article that I read, it was talking about how some people were telling her if she's got it, flaunt it. Yes, go ahead. If you've got it, flaunt it. If you work at a fucking strip club, yes, absolutely. If that's the way you make your money, then by all means, flaunt it. Absolutely. If you make your money by getting your picture in underwear put up on a billboard outside of the Westminster Mall, yes, by all means. If you've got it, flaunt it. Absolutely. That's your job, is to flaunt it. But when you're a fucking nurse in a hospital, no, it is not your job to flaunt it. It is your job to maintain a professional decorum. And if you're going out of your way to accentuate your tits, yeah, you shouldn't work in a fucking hospital. You should work in a fucking bordello. You should work in a cat house. You should go to Las Vegas and become a bunny. Either you're in healthcare or you're in, what do we call this? The sex trade. If you are accentuating your body for money, going out of your way to show that off, you are not a nurse at that point. You are a sex worker. You show off your boobs because you want to troll people for compliments. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so hot. Oh my God, you have such a hot body. You're so hot. You're so pretty. It's called prompting, and women are taught, not only allowed to do this, they're supposed to do this. They're supposed to prompt you for compliments. And if you don't compliment her right, it means that you don't love her, or you don't like her, or any number of other fucking retarded things that women have been taught. Like if a man turns her down, it's okay to destroy that man's life. If a man turns her down, then all of a sudden, you're not dealing with an intelligent person anymore. You're dealing with an unintelligent person and their insecurities. If you want to impress me, don't show me your tits, show me your brains. If you're going to go out of your way to make something that is intentionally not form-fitting, and you're going to go out of your way to make it form-fitting so that you can show off your body parts, you're not acting professionally. If you're an accountant, you're not going to walk in there in a sexy nurse's uniform, are you? No, you're not. If you're a nurse, you're not going to wear a sexy nurse's uniform to fucking work either, are you? No, you're not. You're not going to go down to the costume shop and buy one of those and think it's appropriate at work. You know better. You know better than to do that. And since you know better than to do that, you thought modifying your hospital scrubs was the next best thing and that it would be acceptable, it would be okay. My loved ones are dying wholesale because you don't give a fuck about the homeless. What you give a shit about is her tits. Oh, that poor girl, she shouldn't be getting negative attention for showing off her breasts in a hospital. No. You know what? If you want to wear a bikini to work, get a job where you can wear a bikini. If you get a job at one of those outdoor bars they got in Hawaii, yeah, it makes sense to wear a bikini. It also makes sense because, yes, many women down there in Hawaii, and I have had many women who came back from Hawaii and have explained this to me. In Hawaii, you're trying to play for the tourists. They come there because they want to see beautiful women, beautiful sunsets, and beautiful beaches. So, when you dress for success at that job, yes, professionally, you're a bartender. But also, in order to get the tips, and also in order to live in some sort of comfort in that heat, yeah, wearing a bathing suit to work is acceptable. If you're a lifeguard on the beach, wearing a bathing suit to work is acceptable. There's a reason. But if we're gonna do things to be sexy, keep in mind the key word there is sex. If you are going to dress to get looked at, people are going to look at you. They're going to do that. They're not evil people for looking. They're not evil people for having sex drives. You have a sex drive, do you not? You're accentuating your body to show it off because you have a sex drive. You are fishing for compliments and possibly even some dick. It's fucking obscene. We allow women to get away with far too much. We do not hold them responsible for their actions or their decisions. We do not hold them accountable for the crimes that they commit. Now, we do get exceptions to that rule, but even though women are 11 times more likely to be stalkers than men, and they are far more likely to get other people involved, they are far more likely to use sex to get people to do things for them, like Jamie Curtis. She had 6 guys she was stringing along all at once, each one of them with the promise of sex. I was the only one she didn't have sex with. Jamie Curtis was young and ugly. She had a big old gap between her teeth, and everybody made fun of her. So when she got braces and got her teeth straight and got them taken off, and she was pretty, I'll tell you what, she went on a fucking rampage. She turned into the biggest hoe I know. All because she had her looks, and she knew that she could use it and abuse it, and she could use that to manipulate men. Every woman in America is taught this. Every single woman in America. Now, we all know that Big Bertha down the street, weighing 360 pounds, is not going to get that attention. Let me tell you about a lady in Boulder, Colorado. She's probably, I don't know, she looked to be about in her 70s or 80s. Boulder, Colorado, you're allowed to be topless, especially on your own property. So she'd go out there and she would tend her garden, which included poppies. Not that any of y'all know what poppies are or what opiates are. But this lady would go out there and, you know, she's not got the folds in the right places. She doesn't look like she's got a 20-year-old's body. She is not accentuating nothing. She's out there gardening in a pair of underwear. Literally, that's all this woman was wearing, all right? Now, obviously, when a woman is that old, she's not going to have the best looking body. You know why I applaud that woman and not this 22-year-old who's being inappropriate at the hospital? Because for that old woman, it wasn't about sex. She fought for her right to go out there and garden in nothing but her panties. When she got that right, goddamn right, that's what she went out into her yard and did. Gardened in her panties. She wasn't taking pictures of herself doing that and posting it up on TikTok. According to the law, she didn't do anything wrong, but of course, people have given her comments about it. The only thing that she ever does, as far as being naked, the only thing I've ever seen that woman do is garden naked. And it's not like I'm going to stand there and just stare at her gardening. It's that when you see somebody who is completely fucking naked, or appears to be completely naked because she's crouched down in her garden and some of her plants are covering half of her back, all you see is skin. All of it. The only part that's obscured is her panties. And when you see that, you're going to look. Your eyes are going to look. And maybe you don't want to see it and you turn away immediately. Like that old guy here trying to show me his balls. Why didn't I see his balls, despite the fact that I got an image of him full frontal nude in front of me? Because as soon as I realized he was full frontal nude, which is pretty much immediately, I looked the other way. I don't want to see that. Now, I get that you guys want to make excuses for somebody who's 22 years old and young and pretty and, you know, she piques your sex drive. But then what's she going to do? She's going to pretend that it's not about sex. It's not about accentuating those parts and that men are all pigs because she's fishing for dick or for compliments. No, I'm not going for that. You can do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. When you go to work at a hospital, your job is not to show off your body. Your job is to help people who are sick. Unless you're nurses like, well, how many of y'all have ever seen no, it's not What's Eating Gilbert Grape. The World According to Garp. Good movie. His mother has sex with a soldier who dies. Well, she was a nurse, and she mounted up on him in the hospital when nobody else was looking. We've got a lot of nurses. A lot of women choose to be nurses because it gives them access to a lot of victims. I mean, we want to talk about how women could never do anything wrong. We can go all the way back to Elizabeth Bathory if you want. Over 600 bodies, most of them children. We've got nurses here in the United States who make Elizabeth Bathory look like a Boy Scout. The six nurses in America with the highest body count, if you combine all of their victims, they have a higher body count than all male serial killers in the country. Ever in our history. That's just 6 nurses. No, it's not appropriate to be showing off your breasts at a hospital that you work at any more than it's appropriate for me to be accentuating my balls in a hospital. If I was to take a set of hospital scrubs while I worked at a hospital, and I was to bunch them up and pull them up and twist them up so that it makes my balls look bigger. Well, literally what I'm doing at that point is using a cod piece. What's a cod piece? It's a piece that covers your balls that's a different color than the rest of your outfit so you can get women to look down at your equipment. William Shakespeare types about wearing a cod piece on more than one occasion. If you were to call somebody a cod in William Shakespeare's day, you're calling somebody a dick. Now, given the fact that what this woman did is obviously wrong, and the fact that she's getting all of this support because she's young and pretty, is disgusting to me. At the end of the day, is she a fucking stripper? Or is she a nurse? At the end of the day, is she a healthcare worker or a sex worker? She's a sex worker. Her job is not that important to her. Showing off her body is. If she wants to be a stripper, she should go be a stripper. If she wants to be a nurse, she should be a nurse. But she needs to fucking decide. And this is what you guys care about. You care about this young woman who is intentionally going out of her way to get people to look at her tits. And then you feel sorry for her because people tell her that's not appropriate for a fucking hospital. Well, it's not appropriate for a hospital. So there. That's what matters, isn't it? What matters is breasts. What matters is your sex drive. Your job doesn't matter. Your sex drive does. Doing your job doesn't matter. Pulling compliments does. It's just lucky for her that none of her patients died while she was busy taking selfies, going out of her way to show off her body at work. At work! I'd lose my fucking job if I tried that. It's a good thing I don't have a job, isn't it? Why? Because if I did work at a hospital today, I'd make sure that I walked in with my scrubs tucked in and modified to make it look like I've got a giant cod. You do not get to do things like that and then play like you're a victim. Oh my God, people are looking at me. You're fucking showing off your tits intentionally. But here's the difference. Josh Martindale, when he dresses to get stared at because he wants that attention, men are supposed to be nice. When a woman macks on you and you turn her down, you're supposed to be nice, even if it's a fat woman. And Josh Martindale is not into fat women. And a fat woman comes up and tells Josh Martindale how attractive he is. Well, Josh Martindale will be expected to be nice to her and maybe even slightly flirt back while turning her down. That's not what happens in reverse, is it? If you dress like a $2 hooker and you walk down the Pearl Street Mall and some ugly dude says hello to you, you pretend like he's gonna rape you. Meanwhile, you're throwing yourself at Josh Martindale like a $2 fucking hooker. Well, that don't make no goddamn sense. A man is allowed to look just the same as you're allowed to look. If you're allowed to talk about Jason Momoa, then yes, men are allowed to talk about you. Jason Momoa put that out there. Jason Momoa did that. Jason Momoa is the one who allowed you guys access to pictures of him with no shirt on that you want to be sexist pigs about. Oh, Jason Momoa, Jason Momoa. Or those half-naked firemen. And then you tell us that we're perverts if we even look your direction. There was a girl in high school named Shauna Talish, and she was popular. She was pretty, too. She was stacked to the max. She was chest high. But she didn't like me. And she didn't like my brother either, and she was very mean to me. There was a girl who was a friend of hers who sat in front of me in one of my classes. And of course, she had to sit right in front of me in class. So between me and the teacher is her head. And then she'd turn around and look at me. I'm looking forward at the teacher. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And she would start yelling in the middle of the class, "Sean's staring at me! I'm right behind you in fucking class. Your head is between me and the fucking teacher. The bullshit with Shauna Talish is not my fucking fault. Knock your shit off. There's a lot of people out here on the streets with real fucking problems. New York Times doesn't give a fuck about us. We're not human. We don't have tits that we're accentuating as much as possible in an inappropriate environment. Now, I understand that if you're wearing hospital scrubs and you're a lifeguard, that them hospital scrubs might make it difficult to swim. I understand why in that position you're wearing a fucking bathing suit. If you're at a bar, an outdoor bar in Hawaii, and it's hot as hell, yes, I can completely understand you wearing that bathing suit. And also, to some degree, because you work for tips, yes, that is sex work. If you wear that bathing suit that is form-fitting and accentuates your assets, you will get bigger tips. This has already been proven. This is something that you guys can try to debate, but it ain't gonna work. Now, if you want to say that you wearing your stuff and somebody else who is wearing a bathing suit and you're making more money than them, well, there's a chance that you're a better looking person than that person who's wearing the bathing suit. There's a good chance that you have a better physical form as far as conformation goes. A lot of y'all women, especially, this seems to be something that women are supposed to be into. All women are supposed to be into horses, apparently. Well, if you love the horses, do you learn anything about them? Find out what conformation is. Like, you got a 300-pound woman wearing a two-piece bathing suit, and she's working at that bar, and then you've got a woman who is, well, young, skinny, and pretty, blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and she could even wear a full business suit. She's going to get more attention than that fat woman. The other thing is, it's a bar in Hawaii. The chances of them hiring that fat woman are almost non-existent. There's an ice cream store here in town. And the ice cream store here in town, $4 a scoop. Holy shit, that's expensive. And they only hire pretty young girls. That's specifically who they hire. They know, just like Diane Heidemann in Chapel, Nebraska, knew that having somebody like Kimberly Jepsen would increase her sales. Well, it's the same thing in Hawaii at those outdoor bars. It's the same thing nationwide at many, many, many businesses. Diane Heidemann knew that Kim Jepsen was only 15. And Diane Heidemann hired her because she knew that every guy in town had a crush on Kim Jepsen. We had grown-ass men talking about how hot Kim Jepsen was when she was 15. And then, of course, there's the way that the stirring machine worked for the malt machine. A lot of guys would go there to buy a malt, and they'd throw the malt away. Why did they throw the malt away? Because they didn't go there for the malt. They went there because right on the corner of where the malt machine is, in that little island in the middle of the restaurant, it's right on the corner, and she has to basically wrap her legs around the counter. How would I explain that? All right, so this thing vibrates. So guys in town were talking about how she was using the malt machine to masturbate. How it was basically Kim Jepsen using it as a vibrator. No, she had to get in close to that machine because of where it was at in order to do that. And then because of the physical strength and all the people that are moving around her, yes, you've got a very small area. You need to suck yourself into that area so you're not in everybody else's way. Did Kimberly Jepsen go there and go to work in a bikini? No, she didn't. Did she go there wearing a bunch of Form-fitting clothing. No. Kim, if she wore form-fitting clothing, it was on the bottom. She was not known for wearing form-fitting anything on the top, except for her cheerleading uniform. Grown-ass men had long conversations about Kimberly Jepsen when she was 15 because of where she worked and because of that fucking machine. Now, I don't understand. I don't. I don't understand why you have a different set of rules for women than you do for men. How it's inappropriate for men to do this and men to do that, but it's perfectly okay for women to do it. That's sexism, and it ain't right. Anyway, it's good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind.